now joined by the mega talented boxer, Special K Prosper, with an amazing record of 14 wins. K, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on Boxing and Bantz. It's a pleasure.
No
problem at all. So just the first question, the whole entire world asks, how is COVID treating you?
It's not been too bad, to be fair. I work out of school, so thankfully I've been able to keep myself occupied doing that, and obviously keeping the money coming in, and just keeping active, because it's very could be very stressful not doing nothing.
No, of course, and you're staying safe, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. 100% following the government guidelines.
Of course, good. So just tell us a little bit about your younger years and what steered you into the direction of boxing.
Yeah, so my younger years, there wasn't too bad. Just like a normal young kid in my area, getting into certain little fracas and certain little situations that wasn't very productive. But thankfully, I had a good set of family around me, guiding me to do the right things in the right times. And then obviously, luckily, boxing come involved, and just really channel my energies. Before I was doing boxing, I used to play a lot of football, and that was my passion, and I still love football. I was trying to make it as a footballer, but I didn't go to plans, and I went over to boxing. And when I first started boxing, it was basically just to help out in my local community. Me and my cousin Pulev, we set up a gym called Hot Curring Amateur Boxing Club in my local area. And I just wanted to just help out the kids and just be a coach and just give back to the community, and then getting involved with the sport and starting to do a bit of sparring, and wanted to actually see what it's really like. I had my first fight when I was 22, I think. And then, won that, and then just really got the bug for it, and just went from there really, and just thought, let's go to the next level. And so I turned pro.
Oh, okay.
So you mentioned there, Kay, about the football, and obviously you were sort of into football before you were into boxing. So, do you feel like you've made the right decision to go down the boxing road instead of the football road?
Yeah, I think so, because the main reason why I turned to the sport of boxing is I think you get more out of what you put in. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the time, so many talented kids, and sometimes they don't get a look in, or they don't get spotted if you don't have a good game at the right times. I got to a decent level, paid semi-professional, and I don't think I was getting opportunities, or maybe my face didn't fit in the teams I was playing for. So I wasn't really getting opportunities. And the thing with boxing is, even though there is politics which can deflate from the sport, if you just keep winning and you keep rising the rankings, you will get your opportunity to shine. And hopefully my time will come where I can really set the world alight, and I can box on a big stage.
I'm sure it will.
It will, yeah. So what is a typical day in the life of K Prosper? What's your training routine like?
So with me, I still work full time. I still work full time. I work at a PRU, which is a pupil referral unit, where kids have been kicked out of mainstream schools. They go to these school for delinquents, basically. So I'll help them out, give them support, and do boxing training, and just help them with to channel their energies, basically. So if I'm not in full camp, I'm basically getting up for work in the morning, going to work, coming back, and then I'm doing my training. So I get to train once a day. But then once I'm in full camp, luckily the school I work at, they give me so much time off. So I'm able to get 6-7 weeks off, and then I can be in full camp. And then it'll be, for instance, going to do track work in the morning, and coming back, resting, and then going to do my technical stuff for my coach, Xavier Miller, IQ Boxing, and then going back to the gym again to do my sparring, or sometimes I stay in the gym and help out. And then, so it's when I'm got my mind switched on and I really want to maximize my time, it's full on.
I was just going to say, it must be quite difficult doing, the boxing around the job, actually. I feel like that's quite admirable.
Yeah.
And what would
a lot of fighters...
Sorry, go ahead.
Now, a lot of fighters are in that same boat, because it's not until you get major sponsors that can basically allow you to work full time. I've got some great sponsors, but unfortunately I'm not able to, because obviously I've got a young family, I've got 2 kids, and I've got things that I've got to maintain, so I'm not able to give up work yet. So so other than other than that, yeah, I still maximise my time, and I still, you know what I mean, get to be in a good shape when fight comes.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say was the most difficult part of obviously you're a professional boxer now? So what's the most difficult part about that?
So a couple of things. Obviously, fighting is always hard. It's hard to stay away from all the food, like my family and my friends and everyone's eating. So it's hard to stay away from food.
Yeah.
But other than that, missing out on certain family events and not being able to maximise my time with my family. Like, it is a sacrifice. Obviously, my young kids want to do lots of things, but sometimes I've got to put it on the back burner. It does feel a bit selfish, but hopefully it will be worthwhile when I'm rolling in their millions, you know?
Which you will.
Yeah.
You will.
God willing.
So are you managed by Goodwin Boxing or Dillian White?
Now, I'm managed by Goodwin Boxing. Steve Goodwin, he's been a manager for, I think, 5-6 years now. I started off at, I was managed by someone called Mark Burford at Ring Boxing. That came to an end, so I went to Steve Goodwin, and my career's gone upwards. I mean, I got to fight for the Southern Area title, which I unfortunately lost due to certain situations. And then he's got me back in there to fight for the English, which I've now won. And I think now the next step is pushing on for British title, European honours, and then hopefully the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you mentioned Hockwell Ring Boxing Club. That's where you train, is it, at the moment?
Well, I've always had Hockwell Ring. I set up Hockwell Ring, so that's literally on my doorstep. So I'm always involved with the amateur club. But I train basically as a pro in Neasden Boxing Club in IQ Boxing, basically, with the likes of USET, Yassar, Julio, Adrian Redmond, family coming through. Yeah, they've got a good bunch of fighters down there, and obviously with my trainer Xav being training Dillian White, I'm also able to tap into that and see what he's doing. I've been over to Portugal, which was amazing, and once they have my next fight scheduled, I'm planning to go back out there and do my camp in Portugal. And so you definitely see the best of me in my next fight.
So we saw in one of your interviews about your good friend and your fellow boxer, Michael Norgrove. He tragically passed away, and that was 2013. He's sending our love and condolences to you and obviously his family from Boxing and Bantz. Did that change your outlook on boxing at all?
Yeah, I think anyone that's been through that, it would definitely make them rethink certain things. I was literally there in the venue. We went to the fight. He was winning the fight. He was going well. He was going to win it. He's probably looking to stop the kid. And all of a sudden, his legs started shaking in the ring. First of all, I thought that he twisted his ankle and he was just going to shake it off. But then you could see he started stumbling and falling down and started slurring his words. Then we went to the hospital and brought his stuff to the hospital. Obviously, then they told us what was going on. We went back to the hospital the following days. He was still in a coma, and unfortunately died. So all that period, I was hoping that he was going to pull through. And the reason why I haven't, because it's a dangerous sport, and when you see it firsthand like that, it really sends it home. But basically, I'm doing what I'm doing now in his memory, because he was a good fighter and he could have gone on to do certain things, and he didn't have the opportunity to fulfill the potential. So I think it's only right that I do it in his name.
Absolutely, I think that's
the right thing to do.
Touching story, and rest in peace to Michael.
Yes, touching.
It's sad, and the perils of the sport are very, very real. So people need to understand, when we do put our life on the line. That's why it's made me never take any opponent lightly or just take the sport for a joke. It's a serious sport and things can go wrong. So you've got to put yourself in the right position in order to come out safe. You can spend time with your family.
And last year, congratulations on your win over OMaison in your rematch. How did you feel after the first fight, obviously that being a draw, and how did you feel going into the second fight? Did you feel that there was kind of a lot of pressure to win that second fight?
I was massively devastated. If you see as I was calling the result, like really, really, really upset me, and I really was taken aback. But I would never quit. I would never quit. I might have to. Might have to reevaluate, and when time is time. But I would never just quit. Never once thought about giving up. And yes, it really did. You know what I mean, upset me, and I was taken aback from it. But luckily, we got a rematch, and going into the rematch, I was more confident. Yeah. Same with, I think, with Tyson Fury when he fought Deontay Wilder. He went into the fight, and Wilder was this big puncher, and he's knocked everybody out, and he's dangerous. But obviously, Fury got through that and actually took his best punches. And I think it was the same with me with Sam, because he has got a lot of pop and he's got a lot of punch power. And going into it, I was a bit wary about that, and he did rock me in the first round. I was literally stumbling around the ring. Wow. Still wanted to get a draw in a fight that I thought I should have won. But the fact that I took all his best punches and was coming back with my own stuff, went into the second fight thinking I don't need to have no worries about what you got to do. You got to worry about what I've got to do. So I was going there. I went in there galvanised, and I think I won it clearly. And I boxed to orders. I think I boxed well tonight.
Absolutely, and well done.
Exactly. So you won the English super lightweight title, and that was Luton's first ever English champion. What was that feeling?
The whole thing, I knew it going into the fight that if I won it, I'd be the first. And yes, you've had good fighters that have gone on to maybe loftier heights, but to say I'm the first and to write my name in history, other people will go through and hopefully off the back of me, and people have obviously Lionel Sadofia, who's from Luton, he's gone on and won the English as well. But to say, like, put my little name in history books and, you know what I mean, these things don't come around every day. So I really do look at it as an honour and something that I can take to my grave.
Absolutely. You made history.
You did. Yeah. Pick up yourself.
Big up.
And just, in terms of your fighting style as well, like we've seen you kind of switch. Obviously, you're normally kind of orthodox stance, and we've seen you switch between, that and southpaw. How, why do you do that? Is that to kind of confuse your opponent? Is it a tactic?
Yeah, I think you've got to know what your strengths are, and you've got to maximise it, and you've got to have as much tools in your arsenal as possible. And it's something I've always fleeted with, but I never really harnessed it or really focused on it. I'll just do it for a little bit of a round, then I turn back. But then when I went to box with Jav at IQ Boxing, he saw me do it, and he actually basically forced it on me to stay in that stance and to see if I can add it to my game. And then during the weeks of sparring and training, it just really was just working. And then from that day, I almost think now, like, I'm just as good as a southpaw. I'm different when I'm orthodox. I think I'm more of I can punch harder maybe and sit down my shots as a orthodox. But as far as my boxing and being elusive and not being able to be all the people that I spar, they always say when I turn southpaw, I'm harder to deal with. So luckily, thanks to Jav, I've added that to my game, and I think that will stand me in good stead going forward.
So Rakeem Noble, 2016, your only loss. Did you feel like you had to make any adjustments to your game plan?
Leading up to the fight, I was just my first loss. Before that, I'd stopped most of my opponents. I don't know if I would already boxed at O2 at that time, but I was running through people, and I was almost kind of believing in my hype a bit too much, and I was getting a bit gassed up, like about my punch power and how effective I was as a puncher. So when I went into that fight, I don't think I looked over him, but I think I needed to learn that lesson. So thanks to Rakeem Noble, because if I hadn't gone through that lesson at that point in my time, I might not be sitting here now as the English champion looking to fight for the British title in my next fight. Yeah. Like, Rakeem's a nice kid, and he brought something to the table that I'd never seen. Like, his engine and his work rate was I still haven't seen it today, even in sparring or in a fight. So I'm still waiting for someone to hit that level, and I'm training to be better than he brought on the table that day. So I think, that's definitely taught me the best lesson. I think that's why in boxing sometimes people need to understand, like, when you lose, you can learn your best lessons, and it can push you on to be a much better person and a much better fighter.
Very true.
And just to touch on that point there about, you know, a British title, have you got any opponents in mind, you know, that you'd like to sort of go against next?
Yeah, well, at the minute, Rakeem Brown is the British title holder at my weight class. He's able to take a voluntary defence within a certain amount of time, and then the board can mandate me to fight him for his belt. So if he doesn't get a fight within a certain amount of time, then the board push me straight in against him and the opponent. Which I'd love that fight. He's a good fighter. He's someone that I've seen around and someone who I know from the amateur days and someone who I've got respect for. But in the end, I want to push on. So he's got what I want. But if that doesn't happen, there's another fight to maybe a fight to push me on to that level. Harlan Eubank, who fought Danny Darko a week or so back now on a golden contract, and won an English eliminator for my belt. So he's saying he wants to fight me in his next fight. And again, that's a good fight for me because it'd be on a good platform. He's a good fighter. And if it can be for a final eliminator, so the winner of that fight gets a fight for the British, then at least then I know what my next fight is, and it rather stamps me fighting for the British in the very near future. So either one of them options is what I'm looking for.
Both of which are really interesting fights. And just another question. Okay, you mentioned that you've got 2 children. I'm not sure if you've got boys or girls, but would you support them? Okay, so either of them, would you support them going into boxing if they turn around and said, you know, Dad, I want to be a boxer?
Like my boy plays a lot of football. He plays all the weekend and through the week. Like football is his passion, and I'll push him into that. And I try to teach him some boxing for his fitness and to be able to look after himself and for his strength. I want him to participate in the sport of boxing, but I wouldn't really want him to box unless he was like a Lemachenko, just dealing with kids, not getting hit, all the skills in the world. Like if he's just slugging it out and it's 50-50 and he's taking punches, giving punches, I would say like there's no point putting yourself through it unless you've got really got a talent. But obviously once he gets to 16, 17, then that might be his own choice. But I would never push him down the sport of boxing. It's brutal. So yeah, you'd have to show me something special for me to let him fight.
Yeah, I can imagine it must be tough. To watch, you know, your son kind of take punishment.
Take punches. I would be jumping in there and grips up.
Exactly. That's like my son. He does boxing, but just for discipline, you know. And I wouldn't push him and be like, I want you to turn pro. No.
Let's have fights now. But like I said, if it really was his passion and it's something that he was like really talented at, then it might be hard for you to turn around and say
to deter them.
Yeah, but they're not doing it anyway. But I would never see a lot of parents. They're trying to live through their kid. They're trying to make their kid into the next protege, and they're doing. And the kid ain't really about it. It's not really in his DNA. So you can't push this. Like, you can't. It's not a sport. Like it's a lifestyle. You've got to really live it.
Yeah.
So,
I couldn't push that way. No way, because I can't imagine him being in the ring getting beaten up. Oh my goodness, I'll jump and
get in the ring, start fighting as well.
Might hurt my baby.
It's like when my boy pulls over, I run over there like scared parents. Like, what are you doing? I'm all right. Just like just don't want it to be hurt.
Oh goodness. Okay, so what's your relationship like with Xavier Miller? He's your trainer, right?
I hate that guy. No, he's the best. He's literally the best. He's like with boxing. Boxing's more than just training. It's a lot about how you approach life within yourself. Like he's made me take it even more serious than what I was, and actually understand how you need to live, breathe, and really absorb every moment that you can. He's made me into a student of boxing. I used to love the sport and I used to participate in it, but now he's made me a student. Like he's sending me over videos to watch. I need to work on this. He ring me up late at night and say, "Yeah, I've had a thought about this. What do you think about?" Like we discuss things. He took my thought process and my I don't know, my focus is up to another level. And also, he's just a really good person. I think he's understanding. I can talk to him about things outside of boxing, and he's cool to be around. So I think that's why I really rate him highly, because a lot of trainers, you do box with them for an hour, then you go back and you don't speak to them until you see them again, and they don't have no input. Like I'm always late. I mean, even like this meeting, I was late.
Yeah, you was.
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize for that. Everyone knows that's what I do. But the thing is, I'm not late to his sessions. Yeah, he reprimanded me a few times. I was on my way to sparring. I was running late. I got there, we're trying to rush around, got my stuff on. He said, "You're not sparring." I was like, "What?"
Shut
"You're
it
late."
down.
Yeah, well, guys there. He said, "Nah, someone else is sparring now." He just shut me down. And some people might take that as, he said this or this and that, but I take that as someone who really, you're trying to teach me more lessons than just how to throw a punch. Like, so yeah, it's like I see him as a father figure, which I didn't have growing up. And yeah, I respect him as a person.
You know something? We've interviewed a few people and a few other boxers, and they've said nothing but nice things about Xavier Miller. I mean,
Yeah, you will get some people that will tell you some not bad stuff, but he's not a joke. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not someone you can just walk over and he expects certain things from you. His professionalism is high, so there will be times where he will just, like I said, he will just tell you not sparring. So some people say, "Oh, he's a bad person for that," but no, he sets his boundaries and he sets his level, what he expects from you. And you know what I mean? You have to make sure you come up to these levels. So yeah, but yeah, he's a good person, and yeah, he's just serious. I just say he's just serious.
Yeah, sounds like he's more, more than a trainer,
yeah.
He's giving sort of, life lessons as well as, training. So, final question as well. Okay, what are your thoughts about the fight tonight? I'm sure you'll be watching it. AJ versus Pulev. How are you feeling that's going to go?
Yeah, I'm not fluctuating. I still think AJ is going to win, and I think that we'll probably get him out of there mid to the later rounds. AJ still got some points, some questions to answer, and some underlying tones as far as what he can or can't do. Yes, he's amazing and he's a pioneer for the sport and he's pushed on the sport. But I just think if he wants to go on and beat the likes of Tyson Fury and really dominate sport, Usyk and this kind of stuff, I think he's got to show me a bit more boxing. But he's got power. But I want to see him use his boxing skills and not just outstrength people. So, but I do think he'll win today.
Are you thinking that's going to be points, or you think he'll knock him out?
No, I think he'll knock him out. AJ is one of the hardest punchers. I think his punch mechanism that allow him to really generate forceful punches, and I think Pulev, he's seen better days. Like, he's not saying he's finished. He's still got a bit to offer, but maybe a primed Pulev would give him a harder test. But I think at this point in time, AJ will knock him out. Maybe round 7.
I think mid rounds as well. He
Mid
will
rounds, yeah.
knock him out.
I've said later than that, actually. I think it might take him. Because I always say with AJ, I think he flags a bit in the middle rounds and then gets that win, like come 9, 10, that kind of round. So I'm saying 9 or 10. Yeah,
no, I think it's a good shout. I haven't seen anyone say that he's gonna lose yet, but
no.
So I think the bet and the safe bet is AJ to stop it. Yeah. Anti-yard fight versus Lindenhofer.
Oh, listen. We already done a little a session on that already.
Oh, okay,
I just think it's a robbery.
You think it's robbery? Yeah?
No, we don't think it was a robbery. We think it was we think it was a close fight.
Yeah.
Quite disappointed in Anthony's performance until round 12, which was a good round. Mm-hmm. But we feel he needs to give Lindenhofer his
props.
Yeah, give him props. It was a bit. I was disappointed with him saying it's a robbery and this and that. You didn't really do much. You didn't yes, round 12 you had him going, but before that it was very cagey. It was a poor fight, it was a poor performance. from what you were saying he was going to do. But that was because Lyndon Arthur applied his game plan to the fight. And yes, I think it could have went either way, like a little bit either way. But it's not a robbery, not in anyone's book.
Not at all.
And that's it. It was so close, and someone's going to win, right? It has to be one person. It just wasn't you. So, like I said, he needs to be humble in defeat and humble in winning. So, don't do that. Don't do that.
And as far as Tunde being his trainer, what do you think to Tunde being his trainer? Do you think he should stay on, or?
My feeling on Tunde, right? I see a lot of people really dislike Tunde, and a lot of people really don't think he's good enough. They don't think he's, world-class level trainer. I personally, I think his relationship with Anthony's good, so I don't think he should leave, but I do think they need to consider bringing somebody else in, just to
100%.
bolster his skills and just make sure that he's still going up instead of staying at that one level, because I think he's got a lot of potential, Anthony.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. Definitely don't get rid of Tunde, but keep him in obviously his camp, but bring someone else in, to add. Yeah. That's what I think.
Add to him, maybe a bit more, a bit of a technician or someone who's going to add some tactics. Because for me, the main reason why I didn't win that fight is because he was chasing around the ring. He didn't cut off the ring to allow him to throw his shots. He was just letting him walk back and throw the jab. So yeah, someone should have seen that and should have applied that into his game.
On it, of course. And the thing is, he's chasing him around the ring, but he's getting jabbed at the same time. So it was
like, that's what I'm saying. So it didn't look good.
No, not at all. And then round 12 is when he put his pedal to the metal. Really, it was like it's just too late. And he is a slow starter anyway. But come on,
they're slow and they're slow. Round 12. That's a bit late.
Like, what the hell?
He did it about 3 rounds ago, but obviously, seeing as he gassed out against Kovalev, maybe had a few mental demons to say, like, I don't want to go yet. But
yeah, true.
It's all learning. Hopefully, he can come back and be stronger and maybe get a rematch if Lyndon wants it.
Exactly. Okay, we can speak to you all day.
Yeah.
But yes, best of luck for your future fights, and just tell the people where they can find you on social media and shout out your sponsors.
You can find me on K_Prosper on all my handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Shout out to my sponsors. We've got Tiger Bay here. We've got Fascia and Glaze in there, if you can see it. We've got Bravos, which make the best gloves in the game. KMT for all your apparel. We've got all-time removals here. And we've also got Ealing and Boards and Timber. And I should have one more there. I can't see it right now. Oh, maybe it's on the back. JB Interiors, which are plastering coming from Luton, which helps me out of all my camps. So appreciate to all them and appreciate to you as well. Thanks, Boxing and Bantz.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. We are Katie and Sham at Boxing and Bantz, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.